Coach, we'll start with you. Last season was one of some transition for the Bearcats, replacing a 4-year starting quarterback and trying to overcome an early season injury to an All-American wide receiver. The team went 3-7, but there were certainly some highlights. What are some bright spots that you took away from last year and look to build on entering this season?
Yeah, some of the bright spots we took from last season entering this upcoming preseason camp was mostly from our guys' growth in adversity. I think in past years that was something I felt we struggled with in dealing with adversity. And a lot of our guys, because of injuries, is something that we really saw from the start of preseason training camp throughout the course of the end of our year. We actually ended up going our last game with 24 guys either on the injured or out list. And a lot of those were significant players that were starters, multiple return guys, and guys that actually played significant plays as backup roles. So it gave those guys who were younger guys opportunities to see the field earlier than what we expected. It helped them grow to prepare for this upcoming preseason. But also it helped out in dealing with the moments of adversity and finishing the season out strong, even though it wasn't what we expected going into the season. And our guys have really carried that mentality now during the course of our spring practices, our lifting, and everything that we had through our meetings. And they did the same thing in the classroom as well, finishing the semester out strong. So we're really excited to see now that growth coming in this upcoming preseason camp.
There's a lot of experience returning on both sides of the ball. On offense, you returned 7 of your 8 top receivers, 2 of your top 3 rushers, and 2 starting tight ends. One loss, however, is at quarterback with the graduation of last year's full-time starter, Austin Sly. If it's not too early to tell, what's the outlook on your quarterback position as we enter the preseason?
To be honest, this is going to be the first year out of any of the years I've been here so far where we didn't really have a kind of predetermined or thought process of who's going to be our starter, who's going to be our backup. In each of the past years, we already had a really good idea going into the preseason who those guys were going to be. This is going to be the first year, honestly, going in where there's going to be a lot of good competition from upperclassmen and underclassmen, and those guys are going to have to play those moments out, play those practices out, scrimmage out going forward. And really, we're going to see where the duck shuffles at that point in time of who's going to be our starter and who the guys are going to back up during that course of time.
So we've talked about the offense. The defense may even be even more experienced with 8 starters coming back as well as more than a dozen others who saw a lot of time last season. Wiley highlights the unit after leading the PAC with 111 tackles last season, but who are some of the other veterans you expect to lead the defense?
Yeah, Wiley definitely highlights our defense end of the ball. But with him, they're working in tandem. We have Peyton Rochek on there. We have Andrew Gallen that works directly on his end. Opposite side of the ball, they're going to work on the back end of that. You're going to have Keyshawn Davis. You're going to have Kyle Murray. They're going to work hand-in-hand with that, and Evan Brzezinich. So good thing is they're going to be good experience. Guys that played significant plays and significant reps, either backup roles or starting roles in the past. And I think those guys are going to help him make it a little bit easier on his end of the inside backer position, but also with that leadership and a responsibility, those guys coming back as upperclassmen, I think it's going to really help our underclassmen grow during the time when their significance of their reps they're going to have during the course of preseason, helping those guys be prepared for this upcoming year too.
Okay. Speaking of Wiley, he burst onto the scene last year, first at St. Vincent, by setting a school record in tackles, intercepting 2 passes, and being on the field for nearly every snap. What enabled him to achieve such success right away, and what makes him such a special player?
What makes him such a special player and why he's been consistent with that success showed from day one. So he came in January 2023. Was a transfer from West Los Angeles Junior College. And right when he came in, it was the effort, the mindset, the mentality that he showed, how his faith, his positivity showed throughout just the course of that time, but it really spread throughout the course of our team, though, honestly. It showed from our defensive players, our specialists, our offensive guys, and then it really came together in fruition from our list. We came into conditioning during that spring, and then once we went through our practices. He carried that same mentality in the classroom, carried the same mentality when he was working on campus. And then we come in our first day of preseason camp. I got to tell the story real quick. I come pulling in my office at 5 a.m., and I see through my window, there's a guy running the hill. Steelers up here during training camp. I'm thinking, hey, it's maybe just a guy trying to get some extra work in the morning. It's one of their young players coming out. I get out of my car, and he starts walking over towards me. I'm like, this is Wiley. 5 a.m. I said, we're preseason camp. Hey, you're going to have a lot on your plate going forward. Of course, he's working too on top of that. He's like, Coach, I'm just trying to get better. Just trying to get better. And he brought that same mentality. He was out there each of the days we went throughout the course of the week for training camp. And he brought that same mentality throughout the course of the season by being out there for every single rep, by being out there for every play, by showing, obviously, from a stat percentage that he was able to do that consistently week in and week out. And then he brought that same leadership mentality to our team, though. It wasn't just an individual thing. He wanted everybody to be a part of what we were doing, and he's carried that process and mentality throughout our spring here of 2024. So I'm really excited now him taking that next step here for this upcoming preseason camp.
Okay. So we've talked about the players on the field. Now looking at your staff on the sideline, while there are a lot of returning players, you made a number of new additions to your coaching staff. What do those new coaches bring to the program? How can their new ideas help shape the team both this year and in the future?
Yeah, some of the new coaches we added on staff, we added a new offensive coordinator with Sam London joining our staff. But Kenny Johnson had joined our staff, a strength conditioning coordinator, also working with our wide receivers. Chase Johnson is our recruiting coordinator, also working with our defensive line. And then Dom Otto, we brought in just recently, is going to be working with our defensive line as well. Those guys just came in for this spring. You could see just the growth and maturity from the positive attitude and perspective they're bringing in from the meetings, our practices, and how those guys are going throughout their list. And then that's just really showing throughout the growth of some of the new things we've done from a recruiting standpoint, some new territories that we've taken on, and then also with that growth is shown throughout some of the new things we put in from an offense and a defense perspective, just play-wise, as we're getting prepared for our preseason.
Okay, thanks, Coach. And now we'll turn to Wiley for a few questions. Last season was your first with the Bearcats, and you turned in one to remember, breaking a 10-year school record with 111 tackles en route to earning all PAC honors. How would you grade your performance last season, and what allowed you to make an impact so quickly?
I grade my performance as like a D-, just because of the fact is I could have did better in covering, and I could have made more tackles. I just missed a lot of tackles. And what was the other question you had?
What allowed you to make an impact so quickly?
Just showing my effort and just running around on the field every day, trying to bring my teammates together. That's what really helped.
Okay. How do you build off an individual performances last season? What are your personal goals for 2024?
I really don't have any personal goals. My main goal is to get my team to the top, and that's my main goal, and that's really my personal goal as well.
Okay. All of your coaches and teammates speak incredibly high of your leadership skills and the respect among your teammates. How does it feel to be viewed as such an important leader, and what kind of leadership traits do you try to convey upon your teammates?
I try. It's a great honor to be able to, for the coaching staff and my players to think of me and trust me to run the team. I try to bring an accountability trait and spread that throughout the whole team, that we all be accountable for our own actions and be accountable for our own mistakes so we can get better and move forward.
Okay. A native of Long Beach, California, you're certainly a long way from home. What attracted you to St. Vincent besides the hills to run, and how has your adjustment been to Western Pennsylvania and St. Vincent?
The McKenna program has been a great for me. When I first learned about the school, the McKenna program was very good. I learned a lot. I'm in the SAP program. That helped out a lot, and it's going to help me get a better job. That's really what attracted me here. And plus the coaching staff, it's a family-oriented team. So that really helped me to also like progress into like the team. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Wiley, and thanks again to Coach Smetanka. The Bearcats will open the 2024 campaign with a road game at Washington and Jefferson on September 7th. Coach Aaron Smetanka and senior linebacker Wiley Purdy.